First off, there's a pretty... Did you guys see this? J.K. Rowling apparently has ratioed NyaraVT. This is the latest news that just came out. So we have Nyara with a post here. So this is like kind of multi... let's like go into this. Okay, so Nyara's like first post here is a serious question. Who does this help? Literally excluding young girls from activity. Okay, so let's read the original post first, okay? Pink News reports Girlguiding. The hell is that? What the hell is Girlguiding? The hell is that? Girlguiding will no longer allow trans young people to join its scouting groups under new updates to its inclusion policies. The group, which is previously... Is this like the Girl Scouts? It's a UK version of the Girl Scouts. Okay. The group, which was previously known as Girl Guides, announced on the 2nd of December that it had made the difficult decision to ban all trans girls from its groups, including the Rainbows, Brownies, and the Guides and the Rangers. The organization first allowed trans girls to join its scouting groups in 2017 after passing new guidelines aimed at supporting all girls and young women. However, it has since reversed those guidelines following detailed considerations in the wake of the Supreme Court's judgment determining that the 2010 Equality Act's definition of woman referred to biological sex only. All right, well, and you know, to be honest, I'm gonna be real with you. I mean, tell me if I'm lying here. This is the natural result of people decategorizing everything. Of course this would happen. So if you have you know, you have transgender people, right? And you say, okay, well, listen up. What is that? That's whatever. It's whatever you want. It's whatever you decide at that moment. If you decide tomorrow that you're a woman, then you're a woman. If you decide tomorrow that you're a man, then you're a man. There's no process. There's nothing. It's whatever you say you are. It's only it is inevitable that this would be the result. With the lack of process, the lack of vetting, dude, maybe lack of vetting is the fucking issue in society. We just, for some reason, we just have decided to accept everybody without any sort of filter. And again, like this is the issue with it, is when you do that, and you create such a, well, you know, it's just whatever you say you are, then obviously people are going to say, well, wait a minute, this is very abusable. You know what? Let's just go as hardcore as possible. Now none of you trans people can join. This is just a natural result of that, obviously. Because people don't want to deal with edge cases. People don't want to deal with it, right? Because you're going to have to assume that everyone's like that at that point. Because all it's going to take is like a bad actor. So I mean, like, here's the thing. Say that Girlguiding did this. Okay, let's hear me out. Let's like construct like a hypothetical. All right, so what do you think would happen if Girlguiding said instead, like, listen, we had a case where, you know, this boy just said that they were a girl to like join, you know, the scouts or whatever. They did that. But, you know, they're kind of like, they change their gender whenever they feel like. Whatever they feel like tomorrow. That's like the gender that they pick. And they want to join the scouts. What do you think would happen if Girlguiding said, okay, those people are banned. Sorry. Those people are banned. So any trans person that hasn't gone through the process, they're banned. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think that the trans community is going to be okay with that? Do you really think that they would be satisfied with that? Oh, okay. So there's like a process for which like you can determine if a kid is trans, you know, whatever, you know, hypothetically, right? And then, you know, a kid went through that process and then we'd let them in, but everyone else you can't join. Do you think they would be okay with that? Like, let's be real. Are they going to accept that? Probably not. And this is the issue. Like, I've been saying this forever. This is the problem with the trans community. Is they don't have any sense of, they have zero respect for normal society. That's the issue. No boundaries. Exactly. It's all or nothing. Right? And so when you create a situation like that, obviously where is it to go? Except, okay, we're going to take the maximalist, like, other side position now. None of you can join. obviously that would happen. And you see this happening again in real time all across all aspects of gender in society, where people's positions have changed from before it being like, oh, okay, well, you know, you say you're a girl, okay, well, you know, let's see some process, like maybe like we'll talk about it. We'll talk about you being in women's spaces after you get surgery, or after you've gone through the process for this amount of time. You've had psychological testing for this amount of time. Then we can talk about it, right? It went from that to I could say I'm a man tomorrow and I'm a man. Do you see my point, chat? Do you see my point of how all of the boundaries have been fucking demolished, crushed, tossed aside, where they don't care anymore about any. They don't care about people, reasonable people that just want to live their lives with how things were. A reality that has been known since the dawn of time. They want to toss all of that aside. Any sort of respect for the majority of society, like they've completely changed things to where the minorities should decide everything. Whoever's the most butthurt, whoever's the most sad, they should decide everything. And the only reason that's been sustainable is because, to be honest, people in the West are really nice. Western culture people, we're very nice compared to the rest of the world. Try doing that in fucking Pakistan or Iraq. They'll fucking kill you. What? Somalia. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, Americans, the West, Western culture, we're very nice and accepting people. And they abuse our tolerance. They weaponized it against us, basically. And it's like I said, this overreach. The funny thing is if you were to, you know, I'm old enough to remember basically everyone saying, yeah, you know, gay marriage, sure, yeah, all right. Majority of people thought that. Whatever you think personally, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the majority of people. Majority of people were okay with it. Now people are like, you know, I don't know about that. You remember how we said, and then remember how they said it was a slippery slope? And you guys said it wasn't? Yeah, you know, I don't know. Drag Queen Story Hour? Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. We need a polite society like Japan is polite. Well, Japan is Japan. America is America. I don't think America has to be Japan. It's just people have discovered basically the kindness of the West and have used it against us in every fucking way. And if you think about it, if you really think about it, it's so true. They've used... I'm speaking as an American specifically, and you know, maybe you can speak for your own country if you're from a different country, but as an American, they've weaponized our niceness against us, our kind nature as Americans. They've completely used it against us. Oh, we need money because we got attacked by this other country and they're very big bad. And like, you care about us, right? You care about the rest of the world, right? You care about these innocent people being hurt, right, America? Give us more money, otherwise people are going to die. Oh, you know, American economy is so good. You can give money to people that have nothing. Oh, you know, this country sucks really bad and people want to move to, people want to get out of there because it's bad. Like, you're gonna let them in, right, America? They've completely weaponized this against us. Rana says, the problem I see with them taking the maximum counter positions is that it starts creating a culture where that maximum counter attitude becomes the norm. Right now, it's trans issues and immigration issues, but this could easily expand to maximum with other things. So I'm not really a fan of you know, the maximum position on things. It's like I said, I'm a moderate. I've never lied about that. I've told you guys straight up that, you know, as much as everyone likes to say that I'm an alt-right turbo turbo far right Nazi authoritarian KKK, literally like Shin Mecha Hitler. As much as they like to say that about me, it's just not true. I'm very moderate about things. I've never lied about that. And I definitely don't like the maximal position on things either. But I mean, that's where we're going. That's where the train is going. I can't stop it. I'm just watching it. I'm literally just sitting here watching the train wreck. I see it coming. I know what's going to happen. I've known that this was going to happen for a long time. Believe the internet says all of those things, clearly can't rely on the internet. Yeah. Well, the reason they call me that is because it's the only way for them to fight against me. It's like I said, like they won't fight against me with logic and philosophy. They won't fight me on it. So they basically have to, it's kind of like what Andrew Wilson said yesterday. They have to basically poison the well. They have to go after you in, you know, whatever ways possible to discredit you so that they don't even have to fight you in the first place. I mean, look what happened with Nyara. Look at how many people like were mad at Nyara for even talking to me. Which is why, like, you know, as much as you guys dislike Nyara, I at least commend them on being able to speak. Have a conversation, because no one else will. Well, actually, I have another person that's been messaging me asking, what do you guys think? Should I talk to them? I've had another person on the left that wants to have a conversation with me about trans stuff, apparently. And like maybe, yeah, I don't know. The smaller VTuber. Why bother? It helps me to hone my skills. Am I the only one that thinks that? I don't know. Maybe I just have a gamer mentality. I'm just a gamer mentality. The more I play, the better I get. The more I play without giving up, the better I get, the stronger I get. Stella Montes, lose 10 rounds in a row, come out with big loot, learn all of the fighting, learn how to position, learn how to peek, learn how to rotate, learn everything. And I might die over and over and over again, but as long as I don't Alt F4, I'm still learning, I'm getting stronger. Do it for Charlie. I think about that all the time, Dark Knight, David. Anyway, it's like I said, so you know, in conclusion for what I've been saying is that this is the natural progression. This is the natural progression of the overreach, basically. And to be honest, I would be against this anyway. And you know, this might be a hot take. Well, not here, but this is probably a hot take on the internet as a whole. Not here. Here, you guys will agree with me on this, but I think this is a bad idea in general because, you know, again, I don't subscribe to the idea of trans kids because I think they don't know enough. I think that trans kids do exist. They'll say that, oh, you don't think trans kids exist, Leaflit? No, I think they exist. I just don't know if they're trans or not. There's too much societal pressure, too much parental pressure, too much propaganda, too many psyops that and kids are too impressionable, too malleable. Their mind. So, scientifically speaking, when, and this is why grooming exists, by the way. You know how they say grooming. The fact that the word grooming exists is basically proof of what I'm saying. Is that kids are very they have a lot of neuroplasticity. It's the reason they learn stuff faster, pick up on culture faster. Kids really take in a lot more than we would think. So, and you know, of course, there's varying degrees of this, but I worry that a lot of kids are being kind of pushed into it by people, and then they have a sunk cost fallacy at the end. That's kind of my thoughts on it, is that there's a lot of societal pressure for it, and then, you know, if you're like a girl who's like slightly tomboy, you're a girl who's tomboyish, you like guy things, or you're like a guy, or you're like a little boy and you like girl things, then it's like, oh, you must be trans then. And then they're like, oh, you know, if you like dresses, you must be trans. You know, oh, you like to play with I don't know, trucks or whatever. I don't know, whatever. You like to play with those things. Oh, you like cars. You like to fix cars. Oh, you must be a boy. And I think like this kind of seeds in the mind like that entire route. And I'm not saying that everyone is like that, obviously, but I think for some people, especially, and you see this issue with people that are kind of they're kind of atypical when it comes to their mentality, you know, autistic, other mental conditions, like compounding factors, right? And these compounding factors lead to more impressionability, which allows them to be groomed into a certain ideology, certain thoughts on themselves, right? And I think the idea is that when it comes to kids, it's better to not really expose them to like sexual things like that, because they're most impressionable when they're young. And of course, like I said, there's like there's a variance when it comes to like the level that a kid is impressionable. Obviously, it's variance with all the compounding factors, right? Anyway, my point is, I don't know if the kids are actually trans, and you know, there's a lot of cases of detransitioners. This is not an uncommon phenomenon. There are people who have done the whole thing. You know, you've had women who have chopped off their boobs basically in pursuit of like, oh, everyone said that I'm trans, you know, I like guy stuff, so obviously you know, I must be trans. They cut off their boobs, they take hormones, their voice is deeper, and then they hit like you know, they hit the part of life around your 20s when your mind kind of becomes more rigid, and then they're like, oh fuck, I made a mistake, right? And now you know, you can't do a lot. You completely fucked your life forever, basically. And people will say like, oh, it's reversible. Like, is it really? Issues with sterility, lack of fertility, secondary sex characteristics that are obviously irreversible. I mean, guys, riddle me this. If trans medicine is so reversible, then why do trans people sound like that? Why do they get so many surgeries to like make their chest look more masculine? Why is that the case? If it's so reversible, like, so if an FTM person has to get their boobs removed, then through like, you know, a surgery, and people are so upset about like their chest scars, how is that reversible? You know what I mean? Like no one would ever complain about it, right? Am I wrong? This is a genuine question, actually. Well, no, is the penis removal reversible? Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the secondary sex characteristics, right? Because when you hit puberty, there are secondary sex characteristics that both, you know, it has to do with the sexual dimorphism of the human species. So, like, because of that, like during puberty, there's a reason why during puberty, there are sexual differences that occur. If it's so, and see, that's my concern. My concern is that a lot of the detransitioner people, you know, who knows like how much of it was them being influenced into doing it. It feels like a whole trans thing is a backdoor of legalizing child mutilation. I don't know about that. I don't know. Like, honestly, like, okay, I'll just tell you like how I really feel about this. I actually do think that the people who are saying that kids should be trans and that they should be you know, should be able to receive like, you know, HRT treatments and puberty blockers and all of these like, you know, surgeries at like 16 for like certain surgeries. The people that believe that, I honestly think that they think that they're doing a good thing. They actually think that they're being nice. And I think that has to do with if you were to ask me like what I think about it, it's probably because there are trans people that probably loathe their secondary. I mean, this is just obvious. This is just the truth. There are trans people that loathe their secondary sex characteristics because they hit puberty and they had to go through that. And so they hate that. So they're like, well, if it were me, I wish that didn't happen. Therefore, we should fix that for future trans kids. I think that's like their line of reasoning. I don't think it's nefarious. It's not really nefarious. I just think it's short-sighted. Does that make sense? Dysphorics versus trans people? Dude, I don't even know it. I'm gonna be real. I don't even know what trans means anymore. Like, because like before, trans meant dysphoric people, but like we've kind of removed that, haven't we? Actually, I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck that means anymore, to be honest. You say ignorance while I say malice. It's the same lack of malice in the action argument. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I'm capable of that line of thinking, right, Ron? I don't think it's really, well, for most people. Most people. I'm sure there's probably some fucking psychos. There's probably some psychos like in their basement fucking I don't know, jacking it to egg cracking or whatever. I'm sure there's people that are like that. But I don't know. I don't think that's everybody. I think a lot of I think a lot of them are they actually think that they're doing like a good thing, for real. I just don't think they've really thought through it. Either that or they don't care. Either they haven't thought through it, or they believe it. This is you know, this might be another thing that they believe is well, if you and I'm just trying to guess their argument here. Again, I don't know if this is the argument that they would make, but I would assume that this would be the argument that they would make. Well, in their head, if they were to be honest with themselves, I think they would say, well, you know what, detransitioners, too fucking bad. You fucked up, you're stupid, you made a bad mistake. Why should we affect the people who are actually trans for that reason? I think that's what they would say. Now, the angle that I take on it is that children are fucking stupid and they can't make decisions for themselves. Therefore, we should follow that logic. For the same reason that children, you cannot have with children because of them being incapable of comprehending a life-altering decision. That's the logic that we use, correct? Why doesn't that also apply to the trans thing? That's kind of my thought. I feel like you can't really make a proper argument without addressing that truth, right? The big issue is that Summer is just lost to them. You know, oh well, you're probably not wrong, but I don't know. I don't think most people are like that, to be honest. There probably is. And see, and you know what? Actually, the fact that you said that LOL is actually perfect. Let me like read what LOL says. The big issue with some is you lost them just now when you said they can't have with children. You know, they can't do the thing with children, right? And I think the fact that you say that illustrates my entire point that the entire movement of trans has been so fucking diluted to mean nothing. Like, what does it even mean anymore? Like, it's like they've let so many fucking psychopathic people like lead their movement that it's unreal. You know, I don't know. Like, the point of all of this, before I dare go around in a circle and go for another lap on this entire thing, I'm just going to conclude here and say that the point of this is that there needs to be, at the very minimum, if we're even going to talk about trans stuff at all, you're going to need to have standards. You got to have standards. It's the only way to actually function in society harmoniously, is to have standards. Otherwise, you're just infringing on everybody's you're infringing on society. There needs to be process, there needs to be standards in order to, if you're going to have people that want to exist in women's spaces that are not biological women, then you're going to have strict, incredibly strict standards for like who can do that, so that you can avoid the situation of predators. Obviously. Because if you say anybody can do that, guys, if there's one thing about human nature that's always true, is that there are going to be line steppers that are going to abuse the rules in every single fucking thing. Video game, there's cheaters in video games. There's people who steal. There's people who steal stuff. There's people who abuse the system, like Snap EBT. Like it's just a fact of humanity. And understanding that part of human nature lets you understand why we need to have those guardrails, why we need to have that kind of gatekeeping. Anyway, moving on. Nyara's response: serious question, who does this help? Literally excluding young girls from activities just because they're trans. This is only contributing to the mental health issues that trans people face due to being ostracized. Well, this helps out the young girls that don't want to worry about that don't want to deal with a boy that's confused. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know what that person is. We don't know. So again, they're taking the maximum position of, well, we're going to protect the majority. Because if you don't want to have rules, you don't want to define anything, then you know what? Let's take the safe route. And the safe route is none of you can join. Do you see my point? You see my point about gatekeeping? Gatekeeping and having strict rules is, if you don't have that, then the rule is just going to have to be bigger. You're going to have a bigger rule that is less inclusive. This is a battle between specifics and broadness, basically. Anyway, yes. This is, and again, like, even if you were to make this argument, even if you were to use this logic and say, well, you're excluding young girls from activities because they're trans, this is contributing to the mental health issues of trans people. Well, what about the mental health, issues with the little girls? The little girls that say, I don't want to sleep in the same room as a guy. What if you have a girl that's like, she's religious about it, and she specifically doesn't want to sleep in the room with a guy? What about their mental health? Now you're making an issue between two people's mental healths, right? While you're empathizing with the abuser. Yeah, exactly. I know, Earls. I know they say that. But then I'd say, well, what about I'm gonna move on to J.K. Rowling's post. So J.K. Rowling post answers, it helps girls. It tells girls that they have the right to things of their own. It tells girls that they have a right to say no. It reminds girls that the desires of boys do not supersede their feelings, their rights, or their discomfort, or their safety. Yes. Yes. Totally agree. Because again, like, what did I say earlier about, so what if there's a guy who goes, I want to, say there's like a, I don't know, let's for the sake of argument, how old can you be in the Scouts, guys? As not like an instructor, like as like an actual scout. What's the age range of that? I don't know. I wasn't in any of those things. 18. Okay. So we have to now construct, right, chat, now we have to construct a situation that is possible within this. Okay? Hypothetical. What if a 17-year-old boy goes, I'm feeling like a girl now. Tomorrow they're like, I want to sign up to be in the Scouts. Can they join? Well, why not? Why not? According to the logic of trans people can join the Scouts, why shouldn't they? If what a trans person is a person who decides that they're trans, then how are they disqualified? So what if the girls now are like, and what are you gonna do? Are you gonna police their clothes? Are you gonna say, okay, well, the boy is gonna wear a dress? Or what if they don't? What if they, you know what? You don't have to do that, right? According to them, that's not even a necessity. You don't even have to dress up you don't have to dress up. You don't have to shave. You don't have to even remotely act like a woman, because like, what are you stereotyping what women are then? Right? So what they're going to do, what if a man goes, I'm feeling like a woman and I'm going to join the Scouts, 17 years old. I'm going to join the Scouts with all the girls, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm literally going to just wear the same thing that I wear now. I'm going to wear the same everything. I'm going to act the same, but I'm a girl. How do you combat that? Are you going to tell them they can't join? Well, why not? By what standard can they not join? That's my point. is you have to account for that possibility. And they'll say, oh, that never happens, but it can. But it can happen. And I know that people will abuse the rules. But yeah, I totally agree with J.K. Rowling on this one. Like 100% agree with this. This is the natural result of like of the entire gender movement. And moving away from structure, moving away from procedure, and going into feelings. Taking all of the logic out of it. Completely like eviscerating what trans even means. And they do this with everything, by the way, like all fucking language. They've eviscerated what racism means. They've eviscerated what sexism means. They've eviscerated what oppression means. Like none of it means it. They've eviscerated what Nazi means. Like none of it means anything anymore.